of America, with your hosts, Michael and Jacob.
Big up and happy Thursday, July 4th, American Independence Day. And one thing we are not independent of, more Tottenham Hotspur rumors. Obviously, I think whenever I was doing the whole spiel, a couple weeks ago, talking about Tottenham Hotspur desire Ep202, I thought that was a funny word from, I think it was Paul O'Keefe at the time. I have to go back and check my sources, but honestly, I didn't think desire, the word desire, would actually in turn be Désiré Doué, who in turn, I would love this kid. I'm getting hyped up on all these highlight reels, so y'all better stop me now. But how's everybody doing? Hopefully you're talking to me nicely on this Thursday. We're almost at the weekend. Euros are back tomorrow. Argentina play tonight. You know, I'm already on Kuti watch. I'm always on Kuti watch. Talk to me. And I was trying to find my banner, but then I just realized that I'm using a completely different StreamYard. So my banner, I'm gonna have to figure out. Y'all need to help me. What were some of these? I remember Desire was one. So I'm gonna put that up, and it's gonna scroll across the bottom like that. And we're gonna put Desire up there because that's the first one that I remember. And you may think, oh, is he saying Désiré? No, I'm saying Desire because that is a player that we desire. But before I get into any of all that, let me say hello to everybody in the chat. Big up Martin. There's actually someone there on Twitter. Well, that's interesting. Big up to you, Martin, on Twitter. Chris Peters is here. Says, big up, Jacob. Hopefully catch you tonight. Big up, Chris Peters. Good to see you back in the house, my friend. Big supporter of the channel. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully life is talking to you very nicely. This is a new name. It says second wheel. It has a rose and 410. I'm not sure what that means, but big up to Chris Peters, reminding everyone to hit that like button when you come on in. And shout out Staffy, the true Remora that I know. If you know, then you've seen Staffy, and he really truly is a Remora. You know, I think StreamYard's messing up. It's only showing me, it shows me 0 people on YouTube and 20 people on Twitter. So that's cool. That's cool. But shout out all the Remoras in the house if you do check in. And shout out to Spurs GCTV. So smash the likes, folks. Big up Spurs GCTV. I hope you're doing well, my friend. This banner is actually distracting me. We're going to add to it as the show goes on. I might have a couple of guests. Allegedly was going to have 2 guests. But, you know, like life is, things could be not as they seem. Big up Staffy TV. Big up Cursor in the house. George is here. Big up George. Ibrahim says, Jacob, what if Kuti joined Arsenal? Well, then he would be an Arsenal player, and I would hate him. So he would never do that to me, though. I'm 100% sure. George says, episode 202. It is episode 202. Big up. We're 202 episodes into this thing that started out as a 15-minute upload that I used to do. And then I was like, you know what? I'll just do those 15, 20 minutes live because I like doing live more than I like doing recorded videos. And then all of a sudden, those turned into hour-long, hour and a half, 2 hours long. We've had almost 3-hour-long episodes. The Untitled series is very much as unplanned as the title itself goes. So big up. George, you've been a part of that. So Spurs GCTV, always good to see you in the house as well. Says Yo, Jacob, and Chewy. That's right. Chewy is here. You know the rules. 100 likes or the dog will not eat dinner. Them are the rules. I couldn't help it if I tried. But look, I saw this. Where is it? There it is. I love this. There is a chance. Let me add that to the banner. There is a chance, baby, that Tottenham are moving for both Doué. How I don't even know how we were supposed to say his name, to be honest. But let me put there is a chance. I want to add that there. Our prepared. Might be prepared. Or, no, I don't remember. See, this is why I didn't want to do this live. I should have done it before the show. I'm trying to update the banner. But we've got Desire. We've got There Is a Chance. We'll keep adding to it. Let me know in the... Hey, they might be here. They might be here. Who's going to never join? Who will never join? You talking about Désiré Doué? Oh, talk to me nice. We're going to have Désiré and Destiny and Desire. I desire a destiny in which we have Désiré Doué on our squad because honestly, the compilations have been quite fantastic, if I'm honest. But compilations always make players look maybe a little bit better than they are. I haven't seen a compilation that really highlights the low parts as well. But this is one of those where, again, I look at those highlight reels and I think about the intangibles. Like, just because it may have been against a bunch of farmers in a farmers league, I don't think that he can't still complete those skill moves versus others. So for me, that's a very exciting prospect. He actually he came off of the bench for France in the Olympics today, and he got an assist within 6 minutes of coming off the bench. So isn't that very nice? And you know what? Some people say that he could be the successor to Son. He's admired by quite a few clubs, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to have to look. I think I have a bunch of them bookmarked. That's Philly Gene. That's the video of Désiré Doué's assist. Yeah, so he comes on about the 71st minute. Does a nice 1-2 working here off the left. It looks like a left winger that favors his right foot. Great pass across the box. Finds far post and he slots it in. But look, the player, I mean, that was just today. Where else was it? Here it is. There it is. Share this tab. Any chase for Désiré Doué will be highly competitive as Bayern and PSG are also interested. Tottenham have a strong relationship with Rennes, having loaned Joe Rodon and Jed Spence in the past. That is true. Very much true. That is why at least the doors have always been open, and it makes sense why we would have already told them why we're interested in somebody. But look, I don't watch the French league. I always tell you I'm going to come here and I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to lie to you and say, oh, yeah, I watched the hell out of that. No, I don't. I would desire Doué. Come on, Woodsy, talking to me nicely. Yeah, Sean Butler did get hacked, apparently. I saw that as well. I haven't heard from him in a while, but I shot him a text this morning. I was like, hey, hope you're okay. And then I saw like 30 minutes later he posted on YouTube saying he'd been hacked, which is crazy. Hello, Just a Harmless Potato. Hello, Joshua. Big up, Jacob. Big up to you. Hello to you, Mr. Potato. Ravi's in the house. Says happy 4th of July. Smash the likes and subscribe. Big up, Ravi. Appreciate that, my friend. But Alistair Gold saying that Tottenham have a strong relationship with Rennes. I like that. Anytime Alistair Gold. Oh, it was Ali Gold who said we desire Ezzy. That's who said it. Nah, I remember correctly. What is this? I'm just showing you. Oh, yeah. So Alistair Golder saying it. Paul O'Keefe saying it. So apparently it's got to be true, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's all these apparentlys. Big up Chris Peters. Apparently we're in advanced talks. Apparently. Tottenham have shown a firm interest. Oh, yeah, that's one. Oh, we got to add firm interest. We have firm interest. We have firm interest. This is also, again, I got to rebuild this list of excuses I'm going to give my wife when she says, why didn't you do X, Y, or Z? There's a chance I could do it. And I have a firm interest in doing it. So come on now. But big up to Paul O'Keefe and Alistair Gold, always working hard to tell us different things. You know what? I'm not trying to show you all this actually right now. I'll be really honest. But what do y'all think? Let me know in the chat. What do you think about Désiré Doué? Pedro Neto is obviously another name that we've been heavily linked with. I believe even 12 months ago we were looking at it, and then in January. But this is a guy, some people say he might be too injury prone. Maybe. Some people say he's just a perfect fit. I think, honestly, when he's fit, he can improve anyone in the Premier League, in my opinion. I think he improves Portugal when he comes onto the pitch as well. So, for me, a future with the left side being Désiré and Destiny, and the right side of, well, I guess, Pedro Porro and Pedro Neto. That don't sound half bad, if I'm honest. I'll be real honest. The injury concern is quite a concern, though. I'll be frank. That's why I really didn't get all excited about it. I'll be honest. The Pedro Neto, it doesn't like. I would like him if he's replacing someone who also like a Brian Hill. If he's the Brian Hill replacement, I'm good with that because we never saw Brian Hill and we were okay, so that's fine. Come on now. Chris Peters says no to Neto. Boris, we have enough players who are injury prone. Yeah, I mean, the concern for sure is that when Pedro Neto does get these injuries, it's not like it's contact or like a rough tackle. It's more of a strain or a muscle when he's running or he's changing directions. So to me, that is, or it's a hamstring because he's, full sprint. To me, that is indicative of a bigger issue than just an unlucky fellow. But, hey, Pedro Neto, what, 30 mil for a guy who, may give you 30 games out of 50? It's all right. How much did we pay for James Madison? How many games did he give us? I don't know. I actually don't know. Lee Smithy Smith, big up, bro. You got the new shirt with 14 on the back yet? No, I don't. I don't know if I'm gonna get an Archie Gray. I really want to get a Destiny. I want to see what he changes his number to, and I want to get a Destiny shirt. That's who I've got my eye on this year. We literally got 3 players off the books who are injury prone: Sess, Ivan, and Dyer at times. That's a very good point, Boris. But what I'm also going to say is that means we have a spot open for a guy to be injury prone. And if it's Pedro Neto, an injury prone Pedro Neto is better than an injury prone Sessegnon or an injury prone Eric Dyer. I guess it's more of a push when it comes to Ivan Perisic. But I would say, he put in one or two good crosses for us. I think Pedro Neto could do that and then some, even as an injury-prone player. I think that even if he gives you, 50% of the season, 50% of Pedro Neto is better than 50% of Sess, Ivan, or Dyer. So we've got the funds for a guy to just fucking chill on the physio table. So I'm good. Hey, Chat Sport, Neto's good for 20 plus. Come on. 20 plus games. Imagine, he balls out, he does his injury thing, and then he comes back, and we're actually in the knockout phase of Europa. He comes back, boom, he Netos himself a goal. Then we're going to be talking to him nicely. I want Pedro Neto, honestly. You can get him for what, 30? I'd do it. But I'm going to assume Wolves would rather hang on to him than get 30 mil. They just sold Max Kilman today to West Ham for about 40 mil. I think it was 40 mil. West Ham bought Max Kilman from Wolves. So they got a little cash. And they don't really splash the cash. They go and find all them Portuguese youngsters and the budding stars, so to speak. For me, I'm agree with Benito Sotelo as well. Neto is a no-brainer. Come on, Levy. Oh, that reminds me. I didn't put Levy in the poll, but there is a poll in the chat if you're watching on YouTube. For those of you on Twitter, I don't know how many people are on YouTube, but for the 80 on Twitter, if you want to go over to the YouTube and vote in the poll, hit a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 4,600 subs. That is officially the next milestone. We're 5 subs away from that. So 5 people can subscribe and stay subscribed. We'll hit 5,600. So then we'd be 400 away from the big old 5K. Isn't that very, very nice to hear? I love that there's a chance. Isn't that nice? It doesn't say that. I swear I got something else on them. There's this stupid video. It says Ugodi and Doué on the left, Poro and Neto on the right, and it's like this. Is that a Chad filter? I don't know, or alpha male filter. I'm not sure what it's called. I'm not really on TikTok, but I thought that was pretty funny. They're saying Ainge is the master alpha male if we can pull this off. So I'm about it. That was kind of funny. Sorry for anyone who's epileptic. If you're watching that on TV, you might not have just enjoyed that, but I thought it was funny anyway. I'm going to go ahead and unbookmark that because it is kind of creepy too. There was music on it, so I didn't play the music, by the way. That's why I didn't have any sound. Daniela Zito, good evening. Good evening to you. We have to get Ezzy in, and after that, prioritize a striker. Royale needs to go. Well, I do have it in the title, so, I guess this would be a good time to talk about it, right? Emerson Royale, what was the last I had? I had something somewhere about that. Oh, real quick. I don't know how else I'm going to segue to this into the thing. This is weird, right? This guy, last October, they were saying $100 million for Santiago Jimenez. the Mexican striker who got bounced out of Copa America, by the way. But it says he could, according to TUDN, which is a very big broadcasting company, according to TUDN, Tuden, I don't know what the fucking acronym how you say it, says this would be a wild move for the Feyenoord striker at the age of 23. Could the MLS afford him, and where would he go? But if he's being linked to the MLS, this is a red flag. October 100 mil, July MLS. What happened? Not even Ndombele took that big of a fall. He went Tottenham, and then where do we loaned him out a few places. Obviously, one was Galatasaray, Napoli, and there was somewhere else. I think we loaned him to some other friend. He signed with Nice. So Ndombele. There you go. Look at that. It says 10 hours ago. There's a newer tweet that said he did sign. He got a 2-year deal with Nice. Bro's living the life, I promise you. But yeah, this made me think when you said we need to get a striker. Maybe I was cooking with I was boiling water, and I thought I was cooking with hot grease when I was talking about all the positives of Santiago Jimenez. Clearly, there's something. If this is true, clearly that's not a good sign. But big up to you, Daniela Zito. Oh, yes. Speaking of, did I say talk to me nicely? But I don't know if I did. But we're going to be talking to me nicely right now because one of the guests that I told you, did I foreshadow or was it aforementioned? I'm not sure what the correct phrase is. But I've brought in a man who speaks proper English. A man that when he talks about his club, there's only one man who can talk about the club in this manner. We've got Deji making his debut on United Spurs of America. Deji, my man, how are you doing? Welcome. Welcome to the channel, my friend.
Jacob, thank you so much, man. First and foremost, apologies for the late arrival, but thank you for the invite. Thank you for having me. It is a pleasure. Every opportunity to talk about our club, it must be done. People shaking their bums violently for the players that we're bringing in. Big up to them. So, yeah, no, it's a pleasure. Let's get into it.
Well, I have a bunch of rumors. Obviously, shout out to chat. This is the part of the show where I skip ahead because now I'm joined by a guest. I'm going to be enthralled with the conversation with them. But big up ZX, Boris, Cubes. I see Scott M. Everyone's in the house checking in. We'll get to the chat if it's natural segue. But look, Deji, off the top, I was just kind of one of the comments said something about a striker. We need to get a striker, yada yada. And it reminded me of a bookmark I had. Santiago Jimenez is linked with the MLS. So that's not what the show's even about. So I definitely don't want to be that. That'd be the first question, but that was what we were just talking about right before you jumped in. But I want to ask you this. Yeah. What do you know of Désiré Doué, or is it Doue? And if it's Doue, I'm really going to have a lot of fun with that last name if we do sign this young man. But for me, it looks like a very talented left winger that prefers the right foot. I've seen him bang a couple shots. Some of the tech skills, ball control, first touch, corral, duels. He looks really nice. And these are compilations. I don't watch the French league. I'm sorry. I order from Uber Eats. Yeah. I don't watch the Uber Eats. You know what I'm saying? The only thing on Uber Eats I watch is the fucking driver on the GPS map. How soon is he bringing me my food? That's what I watch on Uber Eats. But what do you know about him? Do you know anything about him? You like me? You getting hyped? I'm getting a little hyped up on the compilations. I cannot lie. Philogene kind of did the same thing for me as well. These are two wingers that, hey, maybe they're not the most sought after, but there's a lot of people who ask, or excuse me, a lot of people whose opinion I rate very highly in regards to talent ID of players in certain positions. And they've all only had raving reviews for Désiré Doué. What do you know about him? What do you think about the young man if he did come to Tottenham?
Yeah, I mean, Jacob, and, a channel that we have firm links with, Spurs King TV. Big up Ashmatic in the building.
Hey, big up Ashmatic and the boys.
And he did a proper thorough breakdown, early in the week. He looks like a good player. I'll be honest. I didn't know Doue before with the links. And that is what always scares me. I know you don't always need to know everyone, but the fact that it's taken the link, the firm interest before this player's popped up, that's always a cause for concern. I always harper back to Danny Rose when he was saying, if I need to Google your name, that means you ain't good enough. Not saying that Doue is not good enough, but compilations, League On, I was just saying on my channel earlier, I can't shake my bum violently for Bergvall because he plays in the Swedish league. So when I'm seeing all these kind of, for want of a better word, because it is true, inferior leagues, I can't get too excited. Does that make sense? So he looks like a player. He looks like a good player. But does he give you the same, you know, I was talking to Chris just now. We're talking about Nico Williams. You know, if Nico Williams comes to Spurs, he's solving our left-hand side problem straight. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. And even the opposition is scared. I'm not sure Doué is that guy. I'm just not sure. So for me, great player, looks good on the eye, but I don't know. And the biggest thing for me that's concerning as a Spurs fan is, on one hand, it's really great that we're investing in talent. I love it. You know, we're bringing in all these players, 23 and under. We bring in Doué. We're going to have like a whole starting 11. That's bloody babies. Like, where's their experience? I need to bring in game winners now.
But we do have some experience, so I agree with you. I do agree. You can't just, you know, we all laugh at Chelsea for last year for doing what? Bringing in a bunch of kids, getting rid of all their old heads. If they would have kept an N'Golo Kante, I think that they would have actually been a much better side just for that experienced head in the locker room feeding that information. But we have experience with Heung-min Son. We have experience with Bentancur, Bissouma, James Madison. This is a guy who's been in the Premier League. We have guys who can lead in that sort of experienced way. Now, I guess if you're saying, do we have a Champions League winner? Well, no. Do we need to sign that guy in order for these kids to have somebody to look up to? I don't think that that's the case either. I mean, Désiré Doué is a guy, he's a Tanguy Ndombele fan, and I've seen people trying to use that against him like it's some kind of bad thing that he was a fan. I was a fan of Tanguy Ndombele when I seen what he was doing too. So I get the reluctancy to be jumping in the pool 2 feet, full head, submerged when you're unsure if you like the water temperature or not. But for me, just dipping my toes right now, I'm saying the water looks nice, Deji.
Yeah, the water does look nice. You know, Jacob, me and you, we've always been on the same page. We will remain on the same page. The issue I'm having is, you know, the Prem is no joke. You know this. Yeah. And we've seen over many times players who look good come to the Prem and they just ain't the mustard. Let me remind you of Vinicius, the striker. He was tearing up the Dutch league, came to the Premier League, couldn't get a sniff. Doué, look at Ndombele, what he was doing at Lyon. Remember his game against Man City. It was that game that made us decide we're going to bring this brother in. And he came in, first game on the potch, 15 minutes against Man City, and the guy was huffing and puffing like a werewolf, like he'd been on McDonald's the whole of pre-season. The Premier League is such an unforgiving league. I think he's a top talent. My question is, can he hit the ground running? Now, there's a point that Boris makes in the chat. Boris says, but in that sense, would Nico Williams be experienced then, since he's only 21 at that point? My point is, Nico Williams is a top baller. We've seen enough of Nico in the Euros to know that if he was to come to our club, he would come to our club, start on the left, and do what he's doing now. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Désiré Doué, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure he comes to Spurs and continues with his compilation. Like, I have slight doubts about Archie Gray. Okay, he's from football heritage. He's of this pedigree. He's playing out a position at Leeds and he's sourcing, but he's come to our club, Tottenham Hotspur. Can he hit the ground running and provide more compilations? I don't know. And that is my worry with our club at the moment.
No, I think, and that is also something I do want to talk about, is I have it in the title as well, some Archie Gray final words, because it is official. We did do the whole video. I hadn't streamed for the past 2 days, so I didn't do anything like, you know, watching his video or something, you know, is, hi, I'm Archie Gray, and look at how my tongue folds. That doesn't make me get up out of my seat. You know, when I'm looking at a player we're signing, he's like, look at my tongue, and here's a picture of my girlfriend. I don't care, dude, is my opinion. But Leeds is a little bit of a soft spot for me because I keep up with them like, like a little bit, like a cousin. Not I don't keep up with them like my brother, my sister, my mother, keep up with them like a cousin or maybe a second cousin, just, hey, how you doing over there? Oh, okay, that's what you're doing? Okay, very nice. So I keep up with them. And Archie Gray is one for me for the last 12 months. Apparently we've been looking at and scouting him for the last 12 months. So there's been little things that come out here and there about his ceiling and people comparing him in the overall England sense and how they see him. People have said the way he leads, the way that he is a leader at Leeds, because Leeds fucking sounds weird. The way he leads, the way he is the leader at Leeds, they said, I can see this young man being a future captain at England. And that's a big fucking ask of a, 19-year-old kid. But I think when you look at, the maturity of him, he's 18 years old, but he played like he's 28. He plays like he's... This is championship, though. Yeah. But when Bielsa was in the Premier League, he did bring Archie Gray through as a 15-year-old, I think, at the time, about to turn 16. So clearly, Bielsa as a manager, I rate. A lot of people like to take the piss because of his stool or his, kind of tactics bombing forward. When Leeds were in the Premier League, they were fun to watch, whether it was going their way or not, in any sense. So I rate his ability to say this guy is good at this or not. And for me, Archie Gray aside, Désiré Doué does still kind of ring a similar bell, right? 18, 19 years old, unproven out of this league. I would say Désiré Doué is more of a stretch than an Archie Gray because Archie Gray, his grandfather played for Leeds. His dad, his uncle played for Leeds. He played for Leeds. This man has been in the fucking professional football realm since he was a glimmer in the sack of his grandfather. Bro, he wasn't even like an existential thing at that point because his daddy had to make him in his jewel sack. So my point is, this young man, like if you've ever been born into anything, this man has been born into football. There's a lot more questions I think Archie Gray answers for me than the questions that I get with a Désiré Doué. So I'm just purely hyped off of these, the skills I'm seeing, his ability with the ball, Désiré Doué specifically. But this is, again, that's fucking mixtape hype, bro. Talk to me about an album. Talk to me about the records, platinum records. Like, this is mixtape hype. So I don't watch Ligue 1, so I'm not the best to say. I just like 19 years old, he's doing all that.
He looks good. Yeah. He looks good. Yeah. He's very silky. But I mean, we had a breakdown of a Pender. A Pender looked good. I mean, bloody hell. If you really want to take it there, Jacob, Gift Orban was looking bloody good in the summer. Oh yeah,
I still take it. Hey, he got to a bigger club though. He did make a big move. Granted, to Lille or Lyon, wherever he ended up, is not as big a step to the Premier League. But look, that would be better for his development, in my opinion, than the stark contrast. So I see your reluctancy with Bergvall.
And he's struggling. Gift Orban's struggling at the club that he's at. So my thing is, he got
one goal in like 10 games or something like that. So yeah, you're all right. He's struggling.
Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, that's the kind of question that I have. And I just feel that in terms of signings, I would be more excited if we were bringing in Pedro Neto. Injury prone, injury record aside, Pedro Neto on his day, look what he did to us. Look every time what he does to us. I would love to see him. Could you imagine Pedro Neto up against Shivami Timbers or Tomiyasu or Kivio? I mean, they're getting slapped up.
Well, I would say you can't spell Tomiyasu without ass.
Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? So, or an Eze, or that I need to see. I just feel like I did argue this, and that Spurs needed to decide whether we were a big club or whether we were a club where we were going to give talent, up and coming talent. Because I was questioning, why didn't we see the likes of Mitoma? Why aren't we seeing the likes in Ciso? Now we are doing it. Let's give these brothers time. If Doué comes in and does a good job, great. I mean, look, who would have thought that Van de Ven would be the player that he is today? Do you know what I mean? But
that is the 1 out of 10 that I like to say, hey, Him and Bajorno were two of the guys. Okay, so when Conte was here and we have fucking Longley, Dyer, I was like, all right, we need a central defender and a left-sided defender. So I was going around, who could we probably get 10, 15 mil that aren't really known right now? And my scouting, my amateur scouting, again, not scouting. I don't want to fucking mislead people and think. My ass in El Paso, Texas, on my computer scouting, led me to Mickey Van de Veen at Wolfsburg and Alessandro, or I think it's Alessandro Bajorno. I remember being like, oh, that's funny, like Italian for hello. But he was a left-footed center back that I thought fit the kind of mold of what we were looking for in regards to like a defender. Now, did I think Mickey Van de Veen will be as good as he is now? Did I think with 3 days notice he could come in and look like a fish in a appropriate sized pond in 3 days time? I did not. I thought he'd come in, need a little bit of time, be a little shaky. He had one, I think Newcastle was the one game where I was like, okay, young man, that was not good, but I'm not upset with you because I think he's afforded that. Destiny was afforded that. And for me, no. That's the long form answer of saying, no, I didn't think Mickey Van de Veen would be this good, even though I did. The January when we still had Conte, and I was like, you know, when your girl and you're breaking up, you're trying to make it better. You're trying to say, hey, boo, you know, hey, holler at me again one more time. And I was trying to get something for Conte, and they didn't happen. And Conte, you know, the past is the past. But Bajorno's coming to a good light lately, and I think that as well. I lost my train of thought there because I started thinking about fucking Conte being like, this club, these players.
Well, he wanted to leave.
Every time.
He wanted to leave, and you're right. It was like a breakup because he decided to throw his kind of, as our expression, his toys out the pram, you know, out the buggy, and he left our club deliberately. And he left us in a bit of a mess. But Van de Ven would have been excellent, you know. And that's the reason why the one positive thing that I could probably say in this whole process, and I think really deep down, Jacob, you're probably thinking this as well, is that we do trust Ange. We've been fortunate here in the UK during the Euros. He's been live and he's been cooking these men on the panel. This brother's football knowledge is beyond. Is exceptional. And if Orange thinks you're a good player, then I think you're a good player. It's like that. I think,
and it's up here too, because that's the one thing he always says. I'd rather have a better mind than a better talent, because you can mold the talent, but you can't mold the mind. And I kind of like that, you know, in a sense, but it also still scares me because I would still, you know, I mean, for Ivan Toney's, you know, bad attitude that the media gives him, I would still like those attributes in a number 9 on Tottenham Hotspur personally. But
how long?
I like this comment here from Zedai. I was going to just say real quick, big up as well to Chris Peters. Remember, for 10 months, that's long enough to have a 1-month-old YouTube baby. So big up Chris Peters. We have 1-month-old YouTube baby. Hit that like button when you watch, Jacob. Big up to you. Big up Meta Football. But I like this comment from Zedai. It says, Doué seeing the talent of Ndombele go to complete waste is a good thing, that he won't want to repeat that. Because think about it. If he comes here, French guy, coming from a French league, and then he underperforms, we spend maybe more than fans would have wanted to spend on him, I could see that being a factor like, hey, I've seen that. I've seen Dele Alli's talents go to waste when you don't utilize it, when you're unmotivated. Unmotivated is a word that we've had often with players at this club. And I think that we're getting that out slowly but surely, those unmotivated players. And to me, young kids are always motivated. You could fucking give a ball to a kid, he'll run around the front yard for 3 hours. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Désiré Doué, for me, there's a lot of question marks. Do you see Désiré Doué? I actually had a question that I thought of to ask you and the potential other guest was, do you see Doué as maybe a cheaper option for Abechi Eze? Because the rumored release clause for Eze was what, like 68, 65?
Something crazy.
Rumored Doué we're going to get for 40, 50. Do you think this is just to save a couple mil? And is that an indictment on this club, or what do you think?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I think Ange Postecoglou, first of all, is not into names. He's not a respecter of persons. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's more about your attitude, like you said, the mentality, all of that sort of stuff. And I think he's also about maybe proving other people wrong, the underdogs. You know, he's just brought in 2 Aussie managers who got sacked from Hibs to come and support, to come and join the coaching team. On the face of that, what would you be doing bringing coaches that got sacked by a lower league Scottish team to our club? But these coaches were part of the coaching team, or they were the ones in charge that won the Australian League, the Coast Mariners or something like that. So the point being is that Postecoglou likes to go against the grain, likes to go against the narrative. And I think that is very, very powerful.
Another thing, Deji, sorry to interrupt you, but I heard all summer, you know, because I keep my ears to the ground like a Navajo. You know what I'm saying? Hey, who's coming this way? Is it a wagon? Is it a horse? Is it a cannon? What are we talking? Is that train? I listen to all sides of the argument. I know you are a part of a lot of different panels, and there's always contrasting opinions, especially in regards to Tottenham and the business we do, our recruiting, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the things that I was hearing when we did the extension on Werner, which I wasn't happy about, but it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. We got rid of a lot of. I'm just going to caveat that because I don't know if we've actually talked about the Werner. I actually don't know your opinion on the Werner thing. Go ahead.
Timo Werner can outfeed Zane.
Thank you. See, I feel the same way. But you know what? 12 months shows that we're, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, if you told your girl, all right, we're going to look how this goes the next 12 months, but nothing's guaranteed at that 12-month deadline. You know what I'm saying? That's not really sounding like a thriving relationship, if you understand. And they also reworked the release clause. So by my hope, and it hasn't been released yet, the financial figures of what we are actually paying for Timo Werner. But at worst case scenario, it's $165,000 a week. But in a best case scenario, if we rework the buy-on clause, I would imagine that we also rework the wage structure. My hope is that. But even if we didn't, the worst case, 165. Eric Dyer was making 180. I mean, that's covered. Hugo Lloris was making 200. That's covered. Ivan Perisic was making 180. That's covered. So it is, while it is not a great thing, it is not a completely destructive, the whole world's on fire, give me the fire extinguisher, and oh, please pray for rain. Because for me, I just see it like we can still do the right business. The window's just started. That was technically before we could even buy players. It just seemed like a quick, easy patch, like a Band-Aid thing. And I don't like that. That is indicative of...
I agree. And then for me, I'm not into wasting money. If they really wanted to waste money on Timo Werner, they could just offer me, and I kid you not, $50 a week. I can do the same job. Since he doesn't want the ball anyway and just wants to run down the left-hand side and run the ball off the pitch, I could run the ball off the pitch for $50 a week. So, you know, for me, I can't compute. I can't quite understand why we've gone in for Werner or we did that extension. The other point I wanted to make was look how good Brennan Johnson was. You know, Scott M makes a brilliant point. He says Johnson and Werner, and I agree. You know, Johnson was smashing up the Championship, man. He was doing bits at Nottingham Forest, comes to our club, and he looks like he doesn't want to tackle anybody because he's pretty bloody scared. So look, I think it's a whole mess. My big issue with our club, though, is that Bergvall, Swedish League, meant to be a baller. I don't know if the Swedish League is in the top 10 of world football leagues in the world. I don't think so. So I can't shake my bum for him. Doué, he looks good, but we've had negative experiences in the French League. I'm not buying that. I mean, look at the striker Arsenal had, Lacazette. He was sourcing at Lyon, came to Arsenal, and he was stray garbage. I mean, I would rather have Richarlison than Lacazette in my club. And then we go
back, and then he started cooking again.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah. So that just shows you the levels. That just shows you the levels of the leagues.
Yeah, I understand the reluctancy for sure. Buying from the French league, I mean, to me, there's always a gamble. There's always a gamble. when you're buying from these leagues and you're like, how do they translate? Now, there's a name you mentioned earlier was Nico Williams. And of course, like 2 days ago, it was Ali Gold or Poe O'Keefe. One of them said, oh, we're still thinking about it, you know. But to me, 300,000, he's already said, I ain't going anywhere for less than 300,000 a week. He's already on 200,000 a week, Nico Williams. But he's a guy that technically 2 years ago was talking about getting Nico Williams on the right hand side because I liked his brother Inaki Williams. I thought he was pretty good, and I was like, his younger brother Nico, he's comes from a great lineage. Again, Archie great lineage of professional footballers. And his older brothers paved the way of how to be a healthy athlete and play consecutive games without injury. You know, and I think at the time he was a right winger for Bilbao when I was actually keeping up with the La Liga. But honestly, I've already came to terms. Nico Williams not coming to Tottenham. It's not going to happen. I already know that. So that's never. But Eze was the one that's always been, well, maybe it is going to be Eze. Eze, we desire Eze is all I kept hearing. Oh, we desire him. He's our number one thought of person, and all this shit's fine and dandy. But that ain't fixing the plumbing. You know what I'm saying? Like when the wife's woman's at war and he's writing letters, how I miss you, I desire you. Well, there's a leak here. Who's going to fix the leak? Got to get somebody over here today because you ain't here. So that's my point. Is like, I just see it a little bit like Doué I'm okay with, because it's not like if we got Doué and a striker, or Doué, Neto, and a striker, because I think that's kind of when you I've really struggled because I start thinking about people like Valise. He's still here, but apparently he's going to be loaned. I struggle with just accepting that, yeah, Son's going to be the number 9, because I think he shows a lot more on the ball and at the left. We saw it in the latter stages of the season when he got moved out left. He started cooking again. And then he goes to Korea and he's kept cooking again. It's clearly where he's more comfortable. So when I think about our starting 11, Doué doesn't even crack it as a left winger. But if he's the cheap option to Eze, which I will force Eze into the starting 11, whether that's James Madison going bye-bye or James Madison becoming a right winger, because he did play that for Leicester a little bit. And to me, there's just so many question marks, and like I feel like if we got Doué, if it's at a decent price, I'm not too upset about it. Especially think Emerson goes to AC Milan for what, 15? I know we've been saying 20, but let's worst case scenario leave you accept 15. You know,
I hear what you're saying, Jacob, but there's a couple of things that you mentioned, and I just want to kind of come back on. So look, for me, we've got to remember that we're a Big Six team. Remember, this season, Son's going to be 33 years old. I've been saying for a while, we need to be... One of the things that we've messed up with is we didn't prepare for the inevitable. What does that mean? We knew Harry Kane was going to go. Why didn't we have a successor in the waiting? Yeah? We know Son's going to go. Where is the successor in waiting? Now, for me, that's why I've been harping on about Eze. Because Eze, for me, is the successor in waiting. He is someone that can do what Son does. He is a menace on his day, and maybe not as clinical in front of goal, but in terms of the impact and the influence on the pitch, that's what we need him. We can't be bringing in Doué, who we're not sure whether he can hit the ground running or not. Now, we are a big team. There's only one team more Spursy than Spurs, and that's Arsenal. Arsenal are there buying calamari today when they should be buying a striker. I want to see Tottenham doing the right things. Let's bring in the Ezes. Let's bring in the Tonys. On top of all these young talent, I don't mind if you bring in Eze and Doué. Because for me, I think this is it. Son's last season at our club. Or at least it should be. He's 33 years old. He's not going to have the pace. Yes, he'll have the finishing. But as you rightly said, I don't want to be seeing Son in the number 9 position. So for me, it's obvious. Bring in some big game players. We knew that Jesus weren't going to do nothing at Arsenal. We knew Zinchenko weren't going to do nothing at Arsenal. We knew that Kivior was nothing. We knew Tomiyasu weren't going to do nothing. We know So we know these things. So let's bring in what we do know. If Eze comes to Spurs, he will be great. If Tony comes to Spurs with Eze, he gets 20 plus Premier League goals. We know this. So let's do what needs to be done with the young players. But I don't want to be doing Doué or Uchi Beauty with players we're unsure of.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point in regards to Eze. He's absolutely proven it in the Premier League. So there's not that huge question mark in that regard. And I would say if we did say in some realm that we did get Eze and we did get Doué, that would then, for me at least, say that Son's there's got to be some kind of future for Richarlison or Son as our striker, because neither one of them are going to play that role. So I've always said you get Eze, you get Tony, and then I'm fine with the rest of what else we do, because those two for me would absolutely walk into this starting 11 and absolutely make us better. So that's what we have to do. You were right, because if we're going to be a big club, call ourselves a big club, we have to be acting like it. We can't just be like two kids, one on their shoulders with a big old trench coat, and we're walking into the adult meeting. You know,
Yeah.
we can only get by with that for so long, in my opinion.
For real. And I don't want to be so predictable. You know, everybody knows if Son's not on form, we're done. And you know, Son goes through this phase every season where he's on fire, and then he goes through a phase when the fire is cold. So it's just simple. So we need other options. Kulusevski, though, the Alaskan Hotspur, is dustier than Tutankhamun. I just don't know what's happened to Kulusevski. He's fallen off a cliff. And for me, I don't mind Kulusevski being sold this summer, because I would have Neto over Kulusevski all day, every day. There's just no output up top. It doesn't make sense. But maybe he can be a replacement for Madders. I called it before the West Ham game away that maybe Kulusevski should play in the 10. But when he came back in the 10 after Madders' injury, after Madders was no longer injured, he just didn't cut the mustard. So it's a strange one. I just want to see balance. I'm not quite seeing the balance yet. I was on the show with Sean and Chris earlier and Zeus. Sean saying that maybe Archie Gray plays in the number 6 but isn't quite a number 6. The truth of the matter is, Chris is saying we just don't know where any of these players are going to be. That, for me, is too bloody worrying. We don't know where any of these players are going to be.
Apologies, I had to mute myself there. I wanted to ask. I saw this comment, and I wanted to make sure I read it to you. Big up the Alaskan Hotspur says thoughts on Kulusevski as a 9. We saw him play that well the last game of the season, and he was decent versus Sheffield, who were already in the coffin. They just needed another nail. We were the final nail. To me, I kind of feel the same way. Like, what happened to Kulusevski? Those 6 months, did he gaslight me? I feel like I honestly kind of feel the same way about James Madison. Kulusevski's made me reluctant to believe what I'm seeing now, and James Madison has reaffirmed that. The first 10 games, he gaslit me into thinking he was this kind of a player. He gets injured, and I'm going on, don't worry, he's going to be back, baby. And when he come back, we're going to hit the ground running like this thing never stopped. He comes back, and he looks like he stopped. His incisive passes weren't connecting, and then they became reluctant to even try them. And I was just like, wow, what are we watching here? And Leicester fans warned us of this when we signed him.
Yeah, I think...
What's your thoughts on Kulusevski and Madison regardless? Like, do you improve on them?
I think Madders is good. Like you said, when he was on form, he was unstoppable. I think arguably he would have been anyone's Premier League 11. I think, though, he was rushed back from injury. And I think Madison's about momentum. So you will see that when we start the season this season, as long as Madders is fit, he's going to hit the ground running. I think even you could see glimpses of his form coming back in the Newcastle game in Australia. You know, he got the goal, he kind of danced through the defence and bagged. So I think Madders is good. But obviously, he's good up until he gets injured and then he falls off a cliff. And I think what we need to do is, I always say, is test and learn. We now know that once Madders gets injured, don't bother rushing him back. Who is the replacement for Madders? Is that Eze? Because you know Eze can play the 10, by the way. So that's the other thing why I think Eze is an important purchase. He can do left. He can also do the 10 role. He can play on the right. That makes more logical sense. Versatility there in our game for when Madders is not there. Madders is there, then I'll have Eze either on the right or left. As for Kulusevski, this brother is dustier than Tutankhamun. This brother, only good performance.
You talking about, was that King Tut?
Yeah, man. Honestly,
whatever his name was. Wow.
Yeah, Tutankhamun. I can't understand. He came from Juventus. That 6 months, he won himself a contract, and since then, he has fallen off. He's more like a soldier, like a military person, just there. He's on the pitch, but he's not really going to do anything. Do you know what I mean? And no, hardly any assists, goals. I mean, I know he got a goal in the last game of the season against Sheffield United, but Sheffield United already bloody relegated.
Well,
for me,
Fat Huey here
doesn't start. He doesn't
Skinny
start.
Fat Huey, I think, providing the opposite feeling on Kulusevski. He says he was literally one of our most creative players, works his bollocks off every time he plays. That was a stat I remember in the beginning of the season that people were like, it's okay, he doesn't have the GA. He's run the most. He's covered the most ground. To me, that's what they say is good about Conor Gallagher. And then they also make fun of him for just running around.
Yeah,
I don't know that running around is a stat that but there's moments, to me, it's like, he frustrates me because I know, like, there's moments where he's so good. We equalized versus City, got a point because of him. And Brennan Johnson, to be fair. When Brennan Johnson got switched out left, he crossed in a ball. Kulusevski heads it. LeBron James meme got created, and I loved it. But it's just that. Over the 90, when he got moved into the cam, one good game as the 10. When Madison was... Remember when we kind of moved him in centrally, and then we were trying Brennan Johnson out wide? And it was like... He had that one game. I was like, I think we found our James Madison backup. That's what we were talking about. We need James Madison backup. The next 2 weeks, bodied, overpowered. He just looked anonymous in the midfield. And I was like, oh my God, clearly I'm fucking stupid. But I honestly have legitimate concerns about Kulusevski, but I'm concerned also with Madison. Maybe not to the same extent with Kulusevski.
I think
does Madison concern you?
Nah, Madison doesn't concern me. He's a quality player. Madison starts regardless of who we bring in. That's how good he is. It's just
I think he does because of the number 10 personally.
Yeah, but he needs rhythm though. He needs rhythm. Kulusevski is dustier than Tutankhamun, like I said. He's full because work rate. I mean, look, Moses Kiptanui, the Kenyan marathon runner. This guy ran in the steeplechase. If you really want someone who's going to work and just keep running, we could just bring in Moses Kiptanui at 67. He could still do a job. Jokes aside,
I'd sign a Dama Traore before I do that.
You know what I'm saying? So, Kuli, I need to see more from him. Yes, he works and he's physical, but I need to see more creative output. The brother can't use his right leg still. I just don't know how professional players who train every day can still be one-footed. It doesn't make sense to me in this day and age. So I need to see more from Kuli. I think this season's his last season. It's either he goes in or he busts, man. And for me, I hope he has a good season at our club. But if he doesn't, then I need to see him gone. I don't mind seeing Kulusevski gone now if we bring in Eze. That's how bad he's been.
Now, Sean Hurl, whom was streaming with you over at Deji Spurs, a fantastic YouTube channel you should subscribe to. It's also in the description of this video. So if you're live, click the description. Click that fucking blue. It's blue for me anyway. The tag name. Go subscribe to Deji. Get him. What is your next milestone? 2K, I think. 3K, something like that. Get him to his next milestone. Make sure you subscribe. Even if you just want to say you shake your bum too violently. There's children in the room. No, but in all seriousness, go subscribe. But earlier you were doing a show before you jumped on here, so thank you so much for giving us your time as well. But Sean Hurl was on there with you. He says, I'm not having Deji shade on Kulu. Took a bad injury and he rushed back.
Well, I just think that since the best Kulu we saw was when he came fresh from Juve, where we were all like, bro, Juve reject, but Juve reject is making the Juventus fans scratch their head. After that, Kulusevski has been dusty. Because for me, he should be a main player. The fact that Brennan Johnson, we are more happy to see. Brennan Johnson should not be starting for Spurs, period, if Kulusevski is in the team. There's levels to this. Yeah, but Brennan Johnson is getting starts over Kulusevski because he's falling off. I don't know what it is. He needs to find himself. If not, get out of our club. I'm saying Kulusevski can get sold. I would like to see Kulusevski gone quicker than Højbjerg. Because I know a lot of Tottenham fans don't like Højbjerg. But the truth of the matter is, in terms of a squad player, Højbjerg can still do a job. Not always great, but sometimes he does pull it out the bag. Whereas Kulusevski doesn't pull anything out the bag, in my opinion. He's just fully dusty.
No, fair enough. There's another topic I wanted to touch on. I had some tweets that were hopefully going to remind me about it, but big up to DS. The initials, not sure what they stand for, but the first time I think I've seen you in the chat before, says, you never know. We didn't know about Destiny, Romero, Son, Van de Ven, etc. Players normally come in with limited Premier League experience or none. Our recruitment has been better the past 2 years. And this was a point, the last sentence specifically about our recruitment and this data-driven model or whatever they want to call it, because I've heard, oh, it's actually not data-driven model. It's analytically driven. It's like, okay, whatever the fuck you want to fucking call the burger, whether it's a cheeseburger, a hamburger, or fucking dead cow in between yeast, I don't care. The burger is saying and is pointing to Désiré Doué is a good signing. Archie Gray is a good signing. Jaden Philogene, I said we should have scooped him up before Barcelona tried raising his price. And now you've got Crystal Palace, Brighton, these clubs looking. He would come to us before he goes to any one of them, in my opinion. So in regards to our recruitment, that led us to Destiny. I'm going to leave Romero out of this because he joined we had Nuno. That's another lifetime. And shout out to the GOAT for getting it out the mud with us. If you know Goat Mero, you know. My Argentina shirt's on the way. Don't worry. It's got the fucking World Championship back. Bro, I don't even care about Argentina, but the slander Kuti was getting all 12 months ago exactly, the shit I had to fucking hear. Sorry, Deji. I had to hear it from motherfuckers about Kuti, and I was like, you're all fucking liars, and you're not watching. You're basing an agenda. And hey, you know, all I'm saying is Kendrick Lamar didn't just write that They Not Like Us for Drake. He also wrote it for Romero, because there's a lot of lyrics in there that I think that remind me of Romero, such as slap you with the Bible while God's watching. I like that one. There's a lot of lyrics I could think of, but that's one, you know. Also, the hook. Hey, look, I'm delving down something else. I didn't mean to talk about Romero. He always distracts me, but I heard a lot of shit about him, so I'm leaving him out of this equation. But Van de Ven. All right, so Van de Ven, Destiny, Papa Matasar, which Sarr, I kind of have questions around him. I think Archie Gray can genuinely challenge him or Basuma for their position. There's actually a funny meme that I saw yesterday. It's like that, I don't know that content creator's name, but he's a famous content creator, and he's like in football pads, and he's like the backup quarterback or whatever. I don't know the fucking skit, but you know what? I'm gonna see if I can find it somewhere, because I sent it to somebody and I just thought that shit was so funny.
We've got somebody having jokes there in the chat that we might have to ban. Philip Bidwell, Villa is a bigger club than Spurs. That comment there deserves to be timed out. Just kidding. But you know what I mean? There's no way Villa is a bigger club than Spurs. Villa will go back to normal this season, yeah? Dusty. Tottenham finish above Villa this season. Mark my words.
Hey, big up Wilsey. I found the clip, so I don't have to sit here and butcher it. But
when you play it?
Yeah. Sorry, I need to do this. So Basuma said, "Welcome to the family Craquito." 2, Archie Gray posting on his Instagram, which I need to go follow him on Instagram. Basically saying, and so someone responded, Basuma watching Archie Gray.
Let's see this.
Quarterback, back up, That's a good pass, yes sir.
Bro, that's a great pass, man. Damn, we should have been had this kind of quarterback, huh?
I mean, yeah, he's doing good for a backup quarterback.
Back up, yeah. He's 21, right?
Yeah, he's 21. I'm 26 though. I'm only hurt for a few games, but that's a good pass for a backup quarterback for sure. For sure.
That's definitely the future of this franchise.
The future backup, yes sir.
I saw that. I thought that shit was so funny. Oh, geez. Anyway, that completely Deji, I'm not the greatest of hosts. I'll be honest with you. This isn't a natural thing for me, but I try my hardest, and I get easily distracted.
This is all good, mate. Don't worry, it's all good, man. It's a pleasure just to be here having this conversation about our club. But yeah, but for me, I'll just be real, Jacob. You know, I just want to see some balance to our signings. I know we've got loads of time, but I'm just saying I don't want to see Spurs do an Arsenal and be more Spursy than Spurs and bring in the wrong type of players. The truth of the matter is, we do need a Doué type, but we need an Eze more, a Neto more. There's certain positions we need tried and trusted, not to be experimenting. It feels like a Manor Solomon. Why did we bring him in? Do you know what I mean? Why are we bringing in players that can't? I mean, any player that we bring in should be pushing to start or should be starting, not on the bench. And that's just my opinion.
I agree. I do agree. But I don't know, man. Maybe the mixtape hype. Lil Wayne had a whole bunch of really nice mixtapes when I was in high school. And I know it doesn't count to the album and it don't count to, you know, his catalog, etc. But if you grew up and you were in high school when Lil Wayne was dropping all those mixtapes, you were having a fucking hell of a time in high school like I was. Big up to this new chatter. I copied and pasted this into a Korean to English translation, and you want to know what it says? It would be fantastic if Doué and Neto joined Tottenham. So not only in America, not only for some people in the UK and Korea as well, we all want a little bit of Doué. We all want a little bit of Neto. For me, Neto, I do want to ask you, you were pretty excited about Neto. You're iffy on Doué. Archie Gray, you're kind of iffy. I understand the reluctancy. I absolutely do. I am not. Archie Gray excites me. I do watch Leeds again. Désiré Doué, I'm on the mixtape hype right now. I might feel differently if I saw him live in the flesh, but the mixtape hype is real. And,
remember Jed Spence?
Oh, yeah, that's another failure by me. So, again, when I bring up the Van de Veens, I remember Jed Spence. I was like, oh, yeah, this guy's going to go here cook. I said the same thing about Oliver Skipp. He was player of the fucking season in the championship under Daniel Farke at Norwich. Who's the same man who's playing lights out for Leeds, Daniel Farke. So I understand. I absolutely, y'all would probably be right. 8 times out of 10. But this might be that 2 out of the 10, you know? Hey, if I only hit 2 out of 10, but they're the most crucial 2 jump shots in the game, talk to me nicely. I just won the game for us. But
I don't mind.
Pedro Neto, you were kind of excited about. In my opening monologue, I said this, Deji. I said, Pedro Neto, for me, yes, is injury prone. And yes, his injuries are not contact injuries, meaning he doesn't get tackled, doesn't take a shoulder to shoulder, and now his shoulder hurts. It's just him running and he hurts himself. Him cutting, changing directions, that he hurts himself doing that. And that's an indicative of the player's physical makeup, in my opinion. Scientifically, I'm not a scientist, but in the fucking muscles of this genetic makeup of a human, there's clearly a problem that will come up for better or for worse. But for me, if you can get him at the right price, the 20 to 30 games that he will be able to play out of the 50 some that, you know, if it's half of them, we have paid more motherfuckers to sit in that physio, like Sessegnon, he's finally gone. Perisic, not Dyer really, but like Giovanni Lo Celso, Eric Lamela. These are all guys that we have paid a long time, and they didn't do shit when they came back. They came back and were ass cheeks. Now, if we could, if it's one dude that we got to do that with, but he comes back and he actually makes an impact. Say he comes off, you know, he balls out for the first 10 games, gets hurt, misses most of it. Now we're in a knockout in Europa. Off the bench comes Pedro Neto, scores us the game winner. He can do that, and he looks. When he comes on for Portugal, for instance, he'd probably be playing tomorrow, or if Portugal play tomorrow, he'll probably come off of the bench and make them look better automatically.
It's a no-brainer. I think we bring him in, like you rightly said. I'd rather have half a season of Neto than none. And I just hope, you know, a game against Arsenal, a game against Man City, someone like Pedro Neto can be the difference. You know, he was responsible for helping Wolves beat City. Do you know what I'm saying? He's that kind of player. He's Zaha-esque. And I think that's what Spurs need. Sometimes we need a player who can take the take the ball from there. I mean, look at the goal. Look how Wolves dismantled us at home. Remember that game? He took the ball from the edge of his box, flew past Ben Davies, flew past him like he didn't exist, and then cut it across for that guy to get the goal. And they killed us. That's what we need. We need one player who can do that. And imagine if we had Eze and Neto on the pitch at the same time. Then they're in 6s and 7s. They don't know where to look, where to go. And that's why Liverpool was so strong. Because it's not just Salah, it's Mane. Either one of these brothers, if they're on form, if it's their day, they're tearing you up. It's very difficult to defend when sometimes you need to man mark. You know, some of these players are so good that they need to be doubled up on. But you double up on, create space. Neto is a player that on form, people need to double up on him. I understand about his injury record, but I just hope and pray that maybe he can have a better time at our club.
I worry with our physio. I remember another name, Oliver Skip, when I was hoping he'd come do bits for us because he's growing in Norwich in the championship, team of the season, yada yada, for them in their promotion campaign. And then he comes to us, and then he had what I called the black hole injury. No, I'm not talking about the bum. I'm talking about he went in there for something, and it was like, he'll be out in 2 weeks, y'all. And then you go check him up at the hospital. No, it's going to be 6 more weeks. Is it the same injury? No, it's a different one. Well, where did he get it if he wasn't training? Yeah, there's a problem with this physio and the communication and everything. I've always had a big beef with this physio. If you can remember, Destiny was the one who fucking announced that he was going to be missing the rest of the season. I remember waking up and I just, let me check the Instagram. Oh, Destiny's in a hospital bed. What is this? You think the club would have told us that this man was laid up getting fucking surgery? I don't trust this physio. I don't trust this. When when I say, like, I don't trust Levy to do the right thing, I don't trust this board to do the right thing, I don't trust this physio to fucking rehab our players. I think they're doing the American healthcare system thing, which is we get you on the hamster wheel. Now you can't get rid of me because I'm the only one who knows that hamster's injury. And if you pull me out, that hamster's never going to be, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like using these players like collateral. Job insurance, if you will. Hey, you can't fire me. I know what's wrong with all those fucking people groaning in the physio. Almost like I'm saying, the American healthcare system, they ain't trying to make you feel better. They're trying to get you on a monthly prescription. They're trying to get you just like Netflix, just like Hulu. What can we get you to pay monthly for? I
hear that. But what I will say is that, just picking up on Alexandro Perez's point, he says, as a Neto, injury prone, but both quality, almost like Madders on their day. If we had Neto, Eze, and Madders on form for half the season, that guarantees us top 4. With those 3, we slap up Arsenal. Guaranteed. Add Tony to that equation and Arsenal get slapped up. And that's what I need to be seeing. I need to be seeing our club slapping up these cronies. You know what I mean?
I need to see us lifting a trophy.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think I was listening to Last Word on Spurs earlier, and they had a transfer dude, a guy who's in the know about all the transfers and stuff, and he was talking about different stuff. And, they were talking about Tottenham's into season projections and kind of where you see us going and yada, yada. And for me, I'll take 5th, 6th place finish. I don't give a damn if we win a fucking trophy. I need me a trophy like I need me oxygen to breathe. I need me a trophy like the desert needs rain. I'm dying out here, Deji.
I hear you. But
I care more about getting if we could win. And I know some Spurs fans are gonna laugh. Oh, ha ha ha, Europa, bro. Why the fuck can't we go win Europa? You go get Ezzy.
I'll take a Europa. I'll take a Europa, but I wouldn't take Carabao.
Why?
I just think that cup is dusty, bro. It's a dusty competition.
I almost cried when we lost to City a few years back in the final.
Bro.
I hated it, bro. I'm standing there in my Sun kit, matching Sun, and he's crying. How the fuck am I not going to cry? That was, bro, we were there. Like, as long as I've been supporting Tottenham, we have not won a trophy.
Yeah.
I've never seen us lift a trophy other than these fucking Walter Toll Award, the Audi Cup, the fucking Tiger Cup, the Richardson.
I think we get over the line. I mean, I said as a minimum, I can see Postecoglou getting us the Carabao Cup, but I wouldn't shake my bum for it. But what it does
Top 4 in a Carabao Cup, we're cooking, in my opinion. Hey, top 5 in a Carabao Cup. Would you take top 5 in a Carabao? I know you don't want Carabao, so that's what I'm asking.
For Postecoglou, top 5 and Carabao is still progression. So yes, but top 6, top 7 and a Carabao.
Top 5 to 6 and an FA.
Yeah.
Bro, I'll take 7th in an FA. I'll be honest.
I'll
take Conference League the following year. Wait, well, no, FA Cup gets you Europa, right?
It's Europa.
Yeah, hey,
I don't mind.
I'll take 10th in FA in that regard. Though.
I take 8th in Europa League.
So let me ask you something. What is your thoughts on United fans? 2 years, 2 trophies, 1 FA, 1 Carabao. They knocked Newcastle out of European competition, sent Chelsea to the Conference League by that FA Cup win. They're all pissed. They can't wait. They're upset. Ten Hag staying. What's your kind of opinion on that?
It was a fluke. Man City didn't seem too bothered by it. But also, let's be real. Manchester United, for the first time in their history, had hit double figures in losses. I think these brothers lost about 13 or 14 games. That is a disgrace. No matter of shaking bums, no FA Cup can disguise the fact that that team is fully dusty. And so for me, as a United fan, to say that they won the FA Cup is papering over the cracks. I want us to be legit. You know, if we're going to be winning trophies, Man United is going to be crap next season, bro. They're not going to do anything. So for me, I want to see progression with our club. I want to see us building. I want to see. That's the only positive thing I will say about these young players. If they are who we think they are, then Tottenham is going to be a very, very good and dangerous team in the next 2 to 3 seasons. Whereas Man United, they're sinking as quick as the Titanic.
Yeah, I guess from the outside perspective specifically, I'm just like, wow, they've Ten Hag has done something that Arteta and Ainge both have not been able to do.
Yeah, but
even Unai Emery.
I don't think Man United fans, with any respect,
none of them. I haven't seen. There's not been one that's bragging about it because of their standards. Yeah. But I guess again, they're more like a rainforest that is, overdue some rain. We're in the desert. I ain't turning my nose up to any drop of water, no matter how big or small the drop of water is. That's just me, though. I think everyone's allowed to feel however they want. But, bro, FA Cup, I'll take. There was a comment, 17th in the FA Cup. We're still in Europe, baby. Talk to me. Hey, we could go.
I take 17th in Europa League, but not 17th in the FA Cup.
That's 17th in Europa. I will take 17th in Europa. Absolutely.
I want to be in the Champions League. I don't care how we get there. Tottenham must be in the Champions League next season, or it's a failure.
Do we get that big money if we win Europa? Is it the same amount of money as if you qualify for top 4, or do you get more money to qualify for top 4 than winning the Europa?
I think you get more money if you qualify for top 4 than winning the Europa League. How about that? Top 4 is worth more money than the Europa League.
That is the problem with the fucking sport. That right there. Because the motivating factor for a businessman is the bottom line in regards to money. And if you're telling me that this man's saying, well, I get more money if we get top 4. Fuck Europa. Fuck everything else that happens. Top 4, I get the most money. So that's the goal. Is there a price difference from 4th to 2nd? I don't think there is.
There is in terms of money. Yeah, there's a big difference. In the Prem, there is. Obviously, based on how you finish, you bring in the money. But obviously, if you're in the top 4, the big difference is from 4th to 5th, because Champions League football, the money that comes in is about 150 mil. That's not to be sneezed at. You know,
I mean, I'd take 150 million. I'd completely change absolutely everything that I have going on in life.
yeah, 150 million to your life.
Here's a fun question from Internet Guy. If you win the FA Cup and get relegated, do you play in Europa from the Championship?
Yeah, you do. I think it happened to Leicester one season. Or yeah,
That's actually crazy. That's actually crazy to me. I didn't
playing the
think that.
Championship and you're playing in Europe, but that's fully dusty. That's why I don't want to. I don't want to.
That's pretty dusty. I can't lie. I would not want to get relegated at the expense of a Europa.
And imagine, in order for you to stay in Europe, you'd have to win Europe whilst being in the Championship. How odd is that?
That's fucking weird, man. Champions League and the Championship. How about that? Fucking, could you imagine Luton Town or something hosting a Champions League night, bro? That would be.
Oh yeah, it happened to Wigan. It was Wigan. Adam Phillips said it happened to Wigan. Yeah, I knew it happened to someone wearing blue.
That's funny.
So, yeah.
Well, look, man, this has been. I know you actually stayed on longer than you told me that you could. So I really do appreciate that. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm going to talk about, but I really feel like this was such a great show. If I keep it shorter, then maybe more people will watch it on playback, because I feel like we really dove into the meats and gravy of this thing. Maybe a little potatoes, a little seared onion or something.
A bit of potato, a little Brussels sprouts, a bit of gravy, bit of lamb on there.
So I got a last question for you.
Yeah.
We'll get this and then your final thoughts. So when for you next year, or maybe at the beginning, but when for you next year would you say that either A, you were right and to believe in Ainge Postecoglou, or B, you were wrong in believing in Ainge Postecoglou? Because I feel like belief in Ainge Postecoglou has been wavering a lot, especially when we went those, it was like fucking 10 games with no wins, some shit like that, or 7 games, no wins. A lot of support waiver. They say naive. They say it's the substitutions. I want to get your overall thoughts on Ainge, and like, at what is there a point next year? Is it the following year? When for you would it be that you're saying this is now? I guess I've always said 4 windows. After 4 windows, if we do the right thing, then the pressure's really going to be on for me. So, but what's your thoughts on that?
So first and foremost, I think Postecoglou is the real deal. I think he can really take our team to the next level. The only time where I will question Postecoglou is if we was to start the season the same way we finished, with no changes. So if we go do the opposite, which is the first 10 games, we are literally in the bottom 3. It's obvious that he needs to put Van de Ven out on the left because Udogi's injured, but he insists on playing Emerson Royale if he's not sold, and Ben Davis if he's not sold, because he's got some point to prove, and we're getting slapped up. Then he's proved to us that he's delusional. A lot of opposition fans say that Postecoglou will not change his ways, but the truth is, even towards the end of the season, he was actually changing things. He didn't want to play Van de Ven on the left because he didn't think he could play it. He was forced to play it. And what a revelation. So much of a revelation that for the Netherlands, Van de Ven plays out on the left. So I need to see more of that from Postecoglou. If he does that, I think Spurs fans give him time.
He almost had an assist as well. There was a beautiful play that was making the rounds where he, I think the tweet was, it never gets old watching Mickey Van der Veen run fast. And it was him just fucking behind a dude, smokes him, gets the ball, beautiful service into the box, but no one was there. Memphis Depay, I think the headband was too tight, my friend. But Mickey is that thing, bro. The longer he stays out of the Euros, the better. Don't let, bro. Because then you're going to get these fucking Real Madrids coming in, talking about this. I have PTSD with Real Madrid. Get away from me, Real Madrid. Keep your fucking hands off.
I think Ange Postecoglou has enough of a pool and enough of a project to keep these players, but we have to progress. If we don't progress, then that's when you lose these players. And that's what if Arsenal don't win the league next season, Saliba's gone. Saka could be gone. You know what I mean? I don't give a damn about them, but it's just the truth. So we have to show progression. at our club in order for us to kind of move forward. But I just feel Postecoglou, I think he's better than what people give him credit for. And I think with the new signings and getting them to play his way, I think it could be exciting. I'm expecting Spurs to finish in the top 4. I had a bet with Greasy Don. I bet him £100, £100, $100, whichever bloody currency you want to look at it. That's Tottenham will finish above Chelsea, and I know we will.
I feel pretty good about that too, because they're restarting what they restarted the year prior, and if you know anything about cars, jump starting it over and over is just not good for the long term health of that thing. So long may they continue to jumpstart themselves. I think it's a comfortable say to finish above them. I mean, where do you see you? I said that was my last question for you, but I got one more. Where do you see Todd? Let's say 2 instances, because obviously it's very fluid right now, I think, in my opinion. Because if you ask me, what do I think, where's Tottenham finished? It's very much dependent on what we do in the next 50 some days. Very much dependent on that. Because if it's the same as last year, I can see us finishing a place lower, maybe 2 places lower even. I can see those other clubs stepping up. But if we continue, if we can do the right thing, like get fucking Ezzy, get Tony, just those 2 right there, I actually think we can finish 3rd, 4th, and win an FA. That's kind of where my expectations will be if we get these right players in. If we don't, I guess my expectations after I'm done going wham, because it will be a lot of wham. You gotta, cry it out whenever you don't like what your club is doing. You gotta just cry it out, because the fuck am I gonna say that's gonna change what a billionaire does? It won't, by the way. Just spoiler alert. For me, my expectations very much depend on what we do in the next 50 days, 50 days. I believe 50 some is when the transfer window closes. So, what about for you?
I'm expecting our club to do the right thing. I think Tony comes to Spurs. I think Tony gets 20 plus goals at our club. And I think we'll get an Eze or a Neto. I don't know if we'll have both, but I think we'll have one of them. And I think Tottenham finished 3rd. I agree with Hiko, Palu, I think Tottenham can finish top 3.
Hiko player?
I definitely think Tottenham will be in the Champions League spot. I actually had Tottenham to finish above Arsenal, to be honest with you. If you really want my true opinion, but I can't publicly come out and say that. But don't be surprised if our club finishes above Arsenal. Partly because when you remember, part of the reason why we failed in the after the Champions League was because, to get to a Champions League final is mentally and physically draining. The players hadn't recovered. Only God knows what those Arsenal players are going through. 2 second place finishes, no trophies. And after all that effort, they've got nothing to show for it. I just can't see Arsenal players, with the greatest respect, I just don't think they can get it up anymore. They're going to need some Viagra.
I mean, what does Arteta even fucking say anymore? Because he already did the light bulb. He already did I yelled at you when I go, and I shake this thing, and then everyone's like, oh, daddy's mad. Oh, we better play right. And then last year he did the whole, let me open wide for a man in Dubai, and that seemed to rally the troops. What's his gimmick? Oh, he got the dog, lest we forget. Now they're selling plush replicas of the dog. We're opening up a dog adoption agency of some kind. So really the dogs are going to be benefiting from all of North London clubs. But what does he even say? Because I'm imagine you were one of those players for the last 2 years in there, listen to that fucking guy be like, hey, let's fucking go, guys. Okay? You're taking the ball, and we get it, and then we take it up ball. And it's like, I can only listen to that motherfucker for 5. I tried to watch the Amazon dog whenever they did the Amazon dog thing, because it was obviously their title run, and then they fucking fell on their face. It would have been a great thing to watch. Bro, I could not make it out the first episode. All the red Arsenal logos, and then it was all capped off with beautiful shots because the cinematography is fantastic, but it's fucking Arteta VO. I am not listening to Arteta VO.
Yeah. But, I mean, Arteta, I think Arteta believes his own hype, and I think Arsenal are going to be put in their place this season, and I'm looking forward to it already. I don't think we have to worry about Arsenal next season. That's the honest truth.
Well, I hope you're right. But where's Tottenham finishing? If we have a mediocre window with Doué, let's say we don't get Ezzy and Tony.
We finished 5th with the squad that Conte, he inherited Conte's squad. You know, we didn't have Kane. We lost Kane the day before the season started. Tottenham will bring in a striker. We still have Son. And we will bring in a winger. Tottenham can only get better. Part of the reason why we struggled is he just didn't know his squad well enough. There are things we know now, options that he can do that we didn't know. Like, for example, Van de Ven can go on the left. If at the very worst come to the worst, Kulusevski can play the number 10. I mean, Draguzin has shown himself to be a very, very credible defender in these Euros. He's someone that we can play. Sean even put it out and said, maybe we put Romero in the number 6. I mean, there's so many options because we've learned so much from the players last season that the only way is up.
I think that's beautifully said, man. It's all in our hands, so to speak, as far as where my expectations are. But I'll be honest. Let me do real quick. What does Total Eclipse say? I said that's madness. I want Spurs to win a trophy before Arsenal so bad. I'm a Liverpool fan. Hey, come on, Total Eclipse. Also, I saw this. I gotta verbally get this out because 1 hour and 28 minutes into the show, if anyone can comment on the video afterwards, and because Total Eclipse is saying if we manage to get a trophy or top 4, he's dropping $100 super chat. So I know this is a long-term investment. It's not going to pay off for another fucking 10 months or so. But, hey, when it hits, it's going to be like crack. I'm going to be smoking that cigar, thinking like I'm Don Carlo. I don't give a fuck. So big up Total Eclipse. Go ahead.
I reckon Spurs wins the Prem before Arsenal. Honestly, I reckon Spurs win.
When do Spurs win the Prem?
We win the Prem in the 27-28 season.
Who's our manager? Is it still Ainge?
Yeah.
Well, what are all the Ainge outers going to be doing at that time? What are they going to be saying?
They're going to be shaking their bum violently because each season we're going to have progression. This season we finish 4th. Next season we finish 3rd. The season after 2nd, and then we win the league 28. You heard it here live and direct. 4th of July.
Right after the super chat too, yeah.
I mean, 4th of July, Independence Day 2024. I've given you the roadmap to winning the league. That's, by the way, he doesn't need to win a trophy. He can just literally land the Prem in season 28.
I've already said if we win a trophy next year, I'm getting Ainge tatted on my body. Because I've been waiting, I don't even know how many years, but it's been more than like 11, 12 years-ish. I've been waiting for a fucking trophy.
Yeah.
It's just not as long as some fans. And I admit that. I know that. I haven't supported this club. But you know what? I've been on the most recent highs of highs that this club has had, the Champions League final being the precipice, and seeing the downfall, the rolling down from the... Like, bro, can you imagine as an American, I see Clint Dempsey, he goes from Fulham to Tottenham, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's a Tottenham? Let me look into them. Oh, you know what? I kind of like this. I kind of like the vibe here. I'm not a glory hunter. I don't like fans that just say who's won the most or who's the best 3 teams. You know what I'm saying? I like the guy that could be the best if he does the right thing. And to me, Tottenham were that. And then we started doing the right thing. And then we were fucking, with Pochettino, we were cooking. And then it was like, just, okay, we're going to fix this, right? We got Jose. I was like, yeah, I love Jose. Jose's winning everywhere he goes. He's a special one. He always wins a trophy. I mean, the history is a history. We know the fucking history. So for me, the sooner we can get away from that and the sooner I can get the tattoo of our players holding a trophy and Ainge holding a trophy, I can't wait for the photos. My family's going to have to hold that. You're not on my phone background anymore. They are going to hold that. But they're also going to be... Paul Beatty's calling me. Why, Paul? Why are you calling me, man? I'm live. He's gonna be like, "Oh, am I supposed to check that you're live every time I call you?" No, just anyway. Wow, 2027, 2028 season. Yeah. So that is effectively next year will be 24, 25, 24, 25, 25, 26, 27. No, 26,
But
27.
This season's
That's
24.
4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
Yeah.
Exactly. Spurs win the
So
league
with
in 4
next-
years.
Hey, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Big up Deji, man. What a fantastic debut. I've enjoyed this very much. Normally, my banner is quite long with the list of excuses I'm building for my wife when she says, why didn't you do these chores? I'm going to say, because Ali Gold said that we desire a Brecci Eze. I'm told that there is a chance we could get Neto and Doué. I'm told that we have a firm interest, not a loose one, a firm interest. There's also prepared to be looking at. There's a whole bunch that I haven't updated this with, but Deji, thank you so much. Do you have any final thoughts for us? I mean, obviously, people are kind of split in the chat. Some are, well, really, I'll be honest. When you said that, Scott laughed, Ryan laughed, Deshaun said you're tripping, Nikki laughed. So a lot of people are saying, Deji, I don't know what you're cooking because I can't smell.
Yeah, I mean, look, I just think if you watch Postecoglou and you understand what he's trying to do, he's not, Man City, one of their strengths is everyone knows what they're going to do. You can't stop it. Postecoglou is the same. We just didn't have the players to execute the system. What we saw against Man City. If Tottenham had the right players, we slap up Man City all day long. And I think we got to trust this guy. This guy, what I like is he's come from the ground up, hard knock life. He's worked his way from Australia to the Premier League at the top of his game. He's no mug. And he proved to us in the signing of Van de Ven. He proved to us in the tweet to Pape Sarr. Proved to us in the work he's done in Udogie that he's legit. He's a top manager. Rest and chill, Spurs fans. I would rather wait 4 seasons and win the Prem than to rush and maybe go a century without winning a trophy, without winning the league. That would be a disgrace to football. So on that note, I think we've got to just be easy and rest assured Postecoglou is going to be bringing on the big trophies. I don't give a damn about the Carabao FA Cup. For me, that's like running the London Marathon and picking up a water bottle on the way. If we pick some up on the way to 27, 28 when we win the league, great. But if we don't, it don't matter. Have your eye on the prize being the Champions League or the Prem. And I'm telling y'all, in my American accent, we do it.
I like that.
27.
Telling y'all.
Yep.
Come on now. Y'all heard it here first from the man himself. 27-28, Tottenham Hotspur Premier League champions. Now, I'm going to be real honest. When I look at all the trophies, yes, that Champions League trophy looks so sexy, and I would love to lie next to it in bed, of course. But there's something about that Premier League trophy. It's sleek as a motherfucker. Like, it's not, I know some people tout the Champions League as like the biggest trophy or whatever, but every time I see that fucking Champions League trophy and it's covered in the baby blue, I just imagine what it will look like in lily white, personally. So I can't wait for that to happen. I rate the confidence. I hope he's right. I don't feel the same way because I have reluctancy and to believe in this club on doing the things that would be necessary, but I agree with a lot of the same sentiments in what you said. The result, I just think, will be a little bit different. But in regards to Ainge and the way he plays, and if we had better players, because I always debate with people about this, in regards to Ainge, about he's naive, he doesn't do the right things. He made a sub in the 80th minute. I wanted to see it in the 70th. Or I wanted a sub in the 80th minute, not the 70th. You know what I mean? It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. But for me, what I've always leaned on is this man knows what he walked into, and he's always told us what his job is to do, to fucking get us competing on all fronts, and that's what he's doing. And there's a lot of things that have happened when he got here that didn't happen when before he got here, when we had the Joses, the Contes, the world-class managers. Eric Dyer played. They couldn't get rid of him. Harry Winks played. They couldn't get rid of him.
Yeah.
Tanguy Ndombele played. They couldn't get rid of him. Giovanni Lo Celso, as much as we tried to keep him out the fucking team, he played. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's things that happen when you actually, like, I feel like the club are trying to change the bed sheets finally. And once we change the bed sheets and we're sleeping in a good bed, then that's when what you're saying can happen. And if we had better players to play Ainge's system, we wouldn't have conceded as many goals as we did because we would have been scoring them.
Exactly.
Plain and simple. And big up, Deji, man. That was a good, very great chat, man.
No, big up, man. Big up. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. Big up to everyone locked in, locked on. Please smash the like buttons. But
yeah, 200 people watching. Most of them have like 100 something on Twitter. Just under 100 here on YouTube. So please make sure you go subscribe to Deji Spurs. Is it? Yeah, Deji Spurs. I was gonna say Deji Talk Spurs, but Deji Spurs. Make sure you subscribe. It is in the description of this video, so you can click it right now and you can go subscribe. Hit a like on the video. I'm going to end the poll as well right now. 106 votes. All right, so there's 106 votes. I'm going to refresh this page and see how many people didn't like the video, because if there's 106 votes, that's enough to get this dog fed tonight. I don't know if you can see Deji, but my dog's back here, and I threaten the audience every stream. I say, this dog is not going to eat dinner if we don't hit 100 likes on the video. So 100 likes is the minimum, and then I do the minimum. You want to see this dog eat steak? 200 likes. How about that? 150 likes, I'll give the dog some of my dinner. And that's all dependent on what y'all do as an audience. But clearly 106 different people came here and voted, 107, and there's only 66 likes. So by my math, that's about 50-some people that don't care if this dog eats dinner or not, and shame on you. But Deji, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for giving us, what, double, damn near triple the amount of time that you said you were going to be able to give us. And big up for that. Big up to everybody in the chat as well. I want to shout out the 2 members who used our membership chats tonight. Shout out Spurs GCTV and Chris Peters, member for 10 months and 9 months respectively. Big up to both of you for supporting the channel for this long. I do very, very much appreciate that. And look, if you ain't subscribed to my channel yet, you came here from like Sean Hurla. This is my first time seeing you in the chat. Meta Football TV. If y'all ain't subscribed to United Spurs of America, go ahead and hit that subscribe if you don't mind. Or don't, because if you ain't liked and subscribed yet, you probably won't anyway. And you know what? That's okay. You're allowed to do whatever you so seek to do in life. But I'm going to do me, you do you. And hopefully that leads to a like on the video. But as always, folks, these next few things are just for you, so do them accordingly. Stay blessed. I need you to stay fresh, up the lads, and come on, you Spurs.
United Spurs of America, with your hosts, Michael and Jacob.